Hello, I'm Brian Gorman, your Transforming Lives coach. Welcome to today's lesson, Influence Matters. This is one of the 10 most important lessons I've learned having intentionally engaged change over the last 50 years. At the end of the day, the only person whose behavior and thinking we actually have direct control over is ourselves. For everyone else, we have to exercise influence. In our personal life, we need to be able to influence family and friends and perhaps people in different social settings and organizations that we're involved with. At work, we may have some positional influence over people who report to us, but we also need to be able to influence our peers. And sometimes we want to be able to influence upward and to our supervisors or across the organization to others whose work we are depending on to be successful ourselves. Influence matters. In every group, some people have more influence than others. The influence may be positional. As parents, we have a great deal of influence over younger children. That influence tends to wane, if not disperse completely as they get older. Spiritual leaders such as priests and rabbis and ministers and imams and spiritual guides can have a great deal of influence over their followers. Other people who have positional influence include teachers and supervisors at work, policemen, so forth and so on. Influence may be knowledge or skill-driven. In the workplace, people with greater knowledge are turned to as mentors. They may share their learning with others to help them along, or they may use it in more self-serving ways. If you've ever been involved in a large-scale ERP project, the biggest challenge isn't the hardware, the software, the new processes. It's the challenge of people feeling that they are going to lose their power if they let the information that they have and hold and control become available in a broader ERP system. Many other factors can contribute to influence as well. It could be personality. That guy Andy that shows up at work every day just radiating this incredible personality. And when Andy talks, everybody listens. It could be tenure. That person who's employee number 3 and now there are 300 or 3,000. She knows everyone. She knows everything. She's been around forever. She knows how to get to the boss and have him listen still. She has influence. It could be passion. Someone who just, when he commits to something, it's going to happen. And so his passion attracts others to support him along the way. If you want to influence, the best way to do it is work with the influencers. Know who they are. In our families, it's pretty easy. We probably do this almost without thinking, but we do it with some intention. If we need to get the mom's approval on something, maybe it's our younger sister who always has mom's ear. When mom talks, when she makes the decision, there is no disagreement. She has influence over everyone in the family, including dad. It may be big brother who's influencing my desire to pursue a particular sport or art because he's my role model. In organizations, it can be a lot more difficult to know who your influencers are. One of the best tools is organizational network analysis. You collect up data on literally who is influencing whom. That data is analyzed and out comes a map of the influence connections throughout the organization. And it's fascinating because it's how the organization really works. And rarely does it have very much to do with the organization chart. I've seen organizational network analysis, ONA, results in an organization that took great pride in the number of women in its senior ranks. But when the ONA was completed, what we saw was not only were the women not influencing the men in senior leadership positions, they weren't even really communicating with one another. I saw one ONA analysis where in this organization of just under 100 people, the most influential person was a purchasing clerk. One of the least influential people was the CEO and owner of the company. In a merger of two universities, we discovered through organizational network analysis that the CFO was the roadblock, really, for making progress, because he claimed influence and control over even the most insignificant of decisions. If you don't have ONA available to you, you need to do some detective work. Watch. Who are the culture breakers that get people to follow them? Who does everyone cluster around in the cafeteria or around the coffee pot? Ask people, who do they listen to? Who helps them decide what to do, how to do, when to do it, and when to say no? So how do you influence others? Well, to begin with, build trust. If you haven't watched my video on trust, be trusted, I encourage you to do so very briefly. It introduces Judith E. Glazer's model of trust using the acronym TRUST. T for transparency, R, relationship, U, understanding, the real understanding of having walked in somebody's shoes. S, a commitment to shared success, not win-lose, but win-win. And T, truth-telling, including the hard truths. The authors of the book, Crucial Conversations, have another book called Influencer, The New Science of Leading Change. I'm going to walk through their model for influence and talk about how it can be applied at both the personal and at the organizational levels. The model focuses on motivation and ability and addresses each of these at 3 different levels. We begin with personal motivation. Personal motivation, or as they put it, help them love what they hate. They may or may not hate the change, but change can be hard. Keeping things as they are is usually much more comfortable. I have a great example from my own past around helping them love what they hate. I hated being in a body of water any bigger than a bathtub. I had a tremendous fear of drowning, and I could not learn how to swim. I went to Boy Scout camp. I went to the Y. I took swimming lessons. I took swimming lessons. I took swimming lessons. I hated it. And then I realized I could never be an Eagle Scout if I didn't learn how to swim. Intrinsic personal motivation is possibly the strongest lever that you can apply to influence others. In the workplace, one of the most effective ways I've seen this happen is for managers to take time to find out what does motivate employees. Why are they showing up at work beyond the pay? What do they want to accomplish in their lives that work is helping them to achieve? Next, we have personal ability. Help them do what they can. Change is uncomfortable. You can't help people be comfortable during change. But you can clearly articulate to them that you're committed to supporting them through their discomfort and helping them to develop whatever skills they need to succeed. At the next level of influence, we have the social. Social motivation is about providing encouragement. And then there's social ability, providing assistance, might be getting mentors for people or coaches or tutors. The third level of influence is structural. Structural motivation is about changing the economy. All too often with organizational change, we think that if we change the compensation system, we'll get the behaviors we want. As parents, we think that if we pay our sons and daughters for the grades that they're getting, that they'll get better grades. Well, in both cases, if the intrinsic motivation is not there, then the extrinsic motivation may get the superficial that we want, but it won't get the real thing. We won't get real learning. We'll get kids who know how to get good grades. We won't get passionate, fully committed employees. We'll get employees who do what they have to do to get paid. Extrinsic rewards can also backfire. In their absence, the behavior that we want stops. Finally, we have structural ability. Change their space. Pay attention to the environment and the messages that it sends. If we want our children to really commit to studying, give them an environment that's conducive to studying. If we want our employees to be collaborative, create an environment that's collaborative. Influence matters. Your ability to influence has a great deal to do with whether or not you'll be successful at any change you undertake. If you found this lesson valuable to you, please feel free to pass it on to others. Send them the link and help them learn to become better influencers as well. I'm Brian Gorman, your Transforming Lives coach. Thanks for joining me on this lesson.